I was the last kid to ever live at Neverland with Michael Jackson.
She was the King of Pop's secret protege.
He invited me to sing at his 45th birthday party, which took place in Neverland. Next thing you know, me and my mom moved into Neverland.
Taken under Michael's wing and groomed for superstardom.
It's a long road.
Well, Michael Jackson's manager got a hold of my demo, and he listened to my track, I Will Always Love You, originally done by Whitney Houston. And one day they were sitting in Neverland, him and Michael, and he played Michael my I Will Always Love You song, and Michael said, wow, who is this girl? Can you call her? And he asked me if I could sing for him, and then I stood up and I asked him, Michael, what would you like to hear? I was going to sing a different song, but he said, will you sing I Will Always Love You? And I sang him that a cappella.
And I will always love you. Will always love you, my darling, you.
While I was singing, and he was closing his eyes, and then he would look at me at times, and I was scared to look at him. But after I was done, the first thing he said was, you have the voice of an angel.
When he met me, I was some unknown 17-year-old girl who had a voice, and he took the time to tell me, you have a beautiful voice and I want to work with you. And the first time I met him, I was very, very nervous because I didn't know what to expect. Dieter brought me into Michael's private library, and he told me to sit down and wait while...
He's just the king of pop, and I was very intimidated. What do I call him, Mr. Jackson, Michael, and...
So I remember sitting down just very, very nervous, and a few moments later I heard footsteps on the floor, and I look over and Michael comes in and he has a big smile on his face, and Paris and Prince follow him, and Grace and Dieter come in. And Michael came up to me and gave me a big hug and introduced himself, and I did the same. And then his Prince and Paris put their hands out to shake my hand, and Michael said, no, we don't shake hands in this family, we give hugs. So then the kids gave me a hug, and it was so sweet, and we all sat down and began talking.
Accepted immediately as family, Nisha and her mother spent 6 months living in Neverland.
That day, he was just like, okay, well, I want you guys, you and your family, to go enjoy Neverland, and we'll see you soon. So I remember right when we left the room, that's when my heart started, like, racing, and I was like, oh my gosh, Mom, Dad, I just met Michael Jackson. And we went around the ranch, and we went on rides, and Dieter came with me and my family, and he kind of showed.
And there's music playing throughout the ranch, so you feel like you're in a movie, and there's actually movie theater and everything you could ever dream of.
And we went on the swings, and I just remember going on the swings with my brother and sister, and you can request music, so we always requested Thriller, and we would listen to it while swinging. It was a fairy tale because we did things there that we would never do anywhere else. I don't know of any other home that has, you know, when you wake up in the morning and you look outside your window, we would look at the lake and 2 elephants were being bathed in the lake. So, I mean, it was just a fairy tale. Michael actually invited me and my mom to live with him in Neverland, where we stayed for a couple months, and I recorded with Michael.
Yes, we recorded a song that he wrote, and we recorded it in his private studio in the ranch.
It was just surreal because I remember they were just preparing the room for us, and it was just a beautiful, big room, and it was just crazy moving in. It was a magical experience because this man, he is incredibly talented, and he's the man behind, you know, Thriller and all these amazing songs. But actually seeing him at work, coming up with these melodies, he would pace the room, like walk around, and he would come up with these melodies, and he would say, okay, Nisha, sing this, and he would sing it, and then I would sing it into the microphone. And he would come up with these harmonies. It was just so beautiful.
Right there, doing it right in front of me, and actually giving me the song. It was just an incredible feeling.
I was just really, like, I do well under pressure because I was able to do everything he wanted. He was able to say, okay, Nisha, sing this line, and then we would do it in one take, and it was done. So working with him was excellent because he had these visions, and it would come out through me. And so it was just a really great experience doing that with him. It was an absolute dream. I mean, on the days that we weren't recording, we were going horseback riding, watching movies in the theater, playing games all day long. It was just a lot of fun. The next plan was to go on tour. We went to the Radio Music Awards, and 5 days later we were fly to Germany, where he was to present a Bambi Award. And then we were going to go to South Africa to visit Mandela and Brazil, and we were going to shoot the One More Chance video. And the plan was that he would introduce me to the world. I would go on stage for the first time next to Michael Jackson. I was going to be an opening act for at least like 2 or 3 of the shows.
But Michael's sweet innocence was soon broken forever.
After the Radio Music Awards, just days later, the police raided the ranch. And so he had to deal with a trial for the next 2 years. Me and my mom and him and his family, we all lived there, and it was all a great time. And I think that after the police raided the ranch, it was just too hard for him to go back. So he never went back either. I thought that everything would be over, and that was a great chapter in my life, and I was really sad. And at the same time, his manager said, you know what, you're good and I don't want to see this end. So he took me to Germany, where I pursued my career. And the plan was that we would always, once Michael was ready again, we would always, we would get back together with him. It's just an honor to have been the last girl to record with Michael, to have been the last girl to have been invited into his home. And it's just a huge honor that he opened up his heart and home to me. He was feeling good again, and my manager had been contacting all the, the organizers for the show. So I was really looking forward to seeing him again. I was in Phoenix, where I live, and my manager called me and he said, Nisha, turn it on to CNN. So I turned the TV on and I saw that Michael had been hospitalized, but I thought, he'll be okay, he's just not feeling well. I never expected anything more, and so I got in the car to go shopping, and my manager calls me and he said that Michael passed away. So I remember pulling over, and my manager was crying, and I had never heard him cry like he did that day. And
my manager worked for him for 10 years, so they had a really close relationship as well, and really sad and unbelievable.
I was crying, and it was just a really sad and shocking day. Michael Jackson was the best artist that the world has ever seen. He was a really amazing, down-to-earth human being, and I think that every artist will continue to look up to him because we're all inspired by him. He was the best, and I think everybody can learn something from him.
And then a hero comes along.
First album on it, Nisha pays tribute to her idol and mentor.
What about sunrise? What about rain?
Included on the album, Earth Song, which Michael took to #1 in the UK in 1995.
You mentioned Paris and Prince and Blanket. Paris, I believe, was about 6 or 5, and Prince a year older. Blanket just a baby. Mm-hmm. Did you see them interact at all with Michael Jackson as a dad?
I did. You would think that these kids, they could have anything they ever wanted because Michael Jackson's their father. There was one time when me and my mom and Michael and Prince were all in the movie theater, and there's a concession stand with all the candy and popcorn and ice cream you could ever ask for. And one day we were all in the theater, and my mom offered Prince a candy bar, and Michael told her politely, he said, oh, he can't have any more today, he already had some. So you could tell that they were disciplined kids, and they were really close to their father, really polite, friendly kids.
The world first saw Paris at Michael's memorial, and many people were surprised. She was almost elegant and very sweet and spoke from the heart. How did you find all 3 kids?
They were adorable kids. There was one incident when Grace was driving us from the movie theater back to the main house because it's kind of a little bit far. And I was sitting in the front passenger seat, and Paris and my mom were sitting in the back of the Lincoln Navigator. And Paris kept tapping on my shoulder and then hiding. And then I would look back at her, and she was smiling and all embarrassed. And then I would, sit normal again, and she would tap me on the shoulder again. So she played like peekaboo games. She was just a cute, normal little kid. All of them were.
So many people had these misconceptions that Michael and his children had an odd relationship. Would you describe it as a typical father-child relationship with each of his kids?
Absolutely. They were happy kids.
Nisha, when was the last time you spoke to Michael Jackson?
I spoke to him in 2003.
So he's never really wanted to go back to Neverland.
No,
Did you talk to him at all?
He never went back to Neverland. We were the last guests to live with him in Neverland, and he never went back there.
And what was your reaction to the way Michael Jackson's been treated and publicly portrayed? You spent time with him more than most people.
He's just the nicest human being that I have ever met in my life. And for one of the most successful people in the world, for him to open his heart and invite me and my family to move into Neverland, and, for him to take a girl with a big voice who has a dream, he decided, he wants to help me in my career, and he wants to be the man to put me out and to the world. And I just think that tells a lot about a person to open up their home to an unknown girl. He treated me like family.
I'm sorry. Do you feel in a way that you've lost a guardian angel?
I do. I mean, it still hasn't really sunk in yet that he's really gone, but he's definitely going to remain alive through his music.
What advice did he give you from one artist to another?
One of the best things that he told me was, this was actually a telephone conversation that we had when I was living in Neverland. He told me that, Nisha, you're going to do very well. And I said, thank you. And he said, if you take an average singer and you give them an incredible song, then they'll do well. But you take a wonderful singer such as yourself and give them an amazing song, they've got it made. So just coming from him, it meant so much.